guys, how's it going? Welcome back. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about reading tab, otherwise known as tablature. So in the last video on the Pink Panther, I received a few questions in the comments regarding how to read this little funky notation that we've come up with for ukulele music. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to dive into that and talk about all the notation you might see, the difference between notes and chords, and kind of give you a little example of each of those components that you might see as you come across a song that you look up. So get tuned up. We're going to go step by step through tab, and you're going to be reading tab better than ever after this video. All right, so you'll see below we have a graphic with tab on there, and you may have seen this in our other tutorials. So with tab for uke, you only have 4 lines. So if you've looked at music notation before, this might confuse you because there are 5 lines on the music staff. So you need to throw that away. This has nothing to do with the music staff. This has all about numericals. These lines, you'll see them below, simply represent the strings. So the top line of the tab is actually the bottom string of the uke. So the way that I like to do it is I kind of think as I look down the ukulele, I'm kind of looking at the top line as I go. So the bottom string, A, is actually the top line for the staff there. So it goes A, E, C, G from top to bottom. So it's a little bit confusing at first, so you might have to take a few stabs at just kind of going through some of these exercises and practicing reading it that way because it's a little bit different than the music staff. So first things first, the lines equal the strings. That's really the whole basis of this thing. All right, so now that you understand the lines, how do you read them? Well, you actually read them from left to right, just like a book. Now, you've probably seen here in other tutorials, there are some numbers on these lines. So what you do is you take a look at the number. Now, if it's a single number, all that notes is the fret number. I'll give you guys an example here. So in the beginning of the Pink Panther, the notation is on the C string. So we start here and we find our C string. We find the corresponding C string on the tab. And then it says 1, 2, 3, slide 4. So what that is the equivalent of here is 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, slide to 4th fret. And I'll talk a little bit about all of the different weird notation you might see for slide, hammer-on, pull-off as we get a little further along here. But simply put, the numbers equal the fret numbers. The little trick here is, if you see just a single number, like 1, that means that you pluck only that corresponding 1 on the C string. Let's say that you see a stack of numbers. Now, you see below here, it says 0, 4, 3, 2 in a stack. And we're talking about an E minor chord. So a vertical line equals a chord. And that would mean you would play all of those notes together. So here's an example of an E minor chord. The notation would say 0 on the G string, 4 on the C string, 3 on the E string, 2 on the A string. And that would mean in that line, you play it all together at the same time. Now where it gets a little bit different, let's say you see the same numbers, but they are written like this, horizontally. Now let's say they say 0, 4, 3, 2 from left to right. Well, when you see that, that means to actually pluck those notes individually because they are written horizontally. So horizontally, single notes, vertical, chord. So now we'll talk about the different symbols that you might see in a tab. So again, I'll refer back to the Pink Panther because it's fresh in my mind. The first one is a slide. So when you see a slide notated, you'll see 2 numbers that are either conjoined by either a little hump or you might see a slash. And then you will also typically see the letter S written with that as well. So here's an example of a slide. I'm playing on the C string, so find the C string below. And then it would say 3 slash with an S, or a little hump there, and then 4. So 3 slide to 4 is noted just like that. All right, so let's talk about hammer-ons now. So hammer-ons are another little symbol that you might see. So you may see them noted with the letter H or that little hump / rainbow thing with an H over the top of it. I've seen it noted a couple different ways. So in our tabs, a lot of times we just use the letter H. Sometimes you'll see that little hump and an H over the top of it, just so you're acclimated with that. Now what that means is, I'll give an example here again on the 3rd fret on the C string. So you would see the C line with the number 3 on it, and then that H and a 4 on the other side of it. So all you would do for that hammer-on is you would pluck, holding the 3rd fret here, and then hammer your finger onto the string. Now also note that sometimes they don't tell you which finger to do that with. So my rule of thumb for that is I kind of apply a finger to each fret. So if I'm, within 4 frets here, index covers 1, middle, ring, pinky. That's not always how it is, but that's a general way of reading it. So hammer on again, 3 with either a hump or no hump, 4 would sound like this. And right while we're talking about it, it goes right into pull off. Pull off is the opposite. Same thing, it'll be noted with the letter P with the little hump or not. And that would mean 4 pull off 3 would sound like this. 4 release. So you're creating 2 notes or more with 1 single pluck with your strumming hand. So then we go a little step further, a hammer-on pull-off combination. What does that look like? So in this example here, it'll be 3, 4, 3. 3, H, 4, P, 3. And what that looks like is you play the 3rd fret here, you hammer on the 4th, and then you pull off the 4th. So you get 3 notes there with 1 single pluck. That sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. That could be used in a lot of different ways, but it's something I've definitely encountered in uke music. And as we get into these last couple of symbols here, we'll talk about the bend. Now, a bend is something that, I don't see very often with uke music, but it does happen from time to time, so I thought it'd be a good chance to just kind of go over it a little bit with you here. So I'll use an example here down on the 7th fret on the A string. So with a bend, you will see either the letter B with that little rainbow, or you might just see the letter B. Now, for this example, I'm playing the 7th fret on the A string, and I'm going to pluck the note and then bend it and bend that string up. So a lot of times what I've seen previously in guitar tablature is they'll either say B with a half over it or F for a full bend. So it might say bend 7 with a little hump 9. That would be a full bend because you're actually going up a full step. Now a full step means 2 frets. So basically you're bending this 7th fret so that you get the same note you would play on the 9th fret. So it's something that's used more often in guitar, but you will see it in uke occasionally. Last but not least, the old harmonic. Now what a harmonic is when you actually just touch the string here and pluck it so that it makes this kind of ringing sound. Now, super pretty. You can do those with single notes, or you can do them across the entire 12th fret. Harmonics I've found on the uke typically only work on the 12th fret, and you actually just touch the string while you pluck it and release it here on the 12th fret right over the actual metal bar. This could be a whole lesson in itself on harmonics, so I'm just going to touch upon it here really quick. But a harmonic will typically be noted. You'll see a 12 with a pair of parentheses around it. That typically notes a harmonic. So that covers all of the symbols you might see. You might see them in a combination, such as in the Pink Panther tab, you see there's a slide and a pull-off. So just know slide is S, hammer-on is H, pull-off is P, harmonic is the parentheses, and a bend is noted with B. And I think that just about covers everything that you might come across in notation. So I thought we'd do a quick little playing example here for chord melody with just a combination of notes and a chord so that you can read and play that. And I think just the more you do this, the more time you spend with it, the more comfortable you'll get with reading tablature. And then it'll start just coming second nature. You'll kind of just be able to read it left to right and have no problems. So without further ado, let's do a playing example here. So I'm just going to do the intro to the Pink Panther. So I'll just have that below here so you can check that out. And we'll do a combination of notes and a chord. So if you follow below, you'll see it's 1, 2, 3, slide 4, and then a single strum on an E minor chord, which will be noted 0, 4, 3, 2, going down the strings. So here we go. Just try that with me, and the numbers corresponding will light up as I play them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, slide 4, chord. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, slide 4, strum the chord. So that's just a really brief example. I wanted to give you guys a kind of broad look at tab and some examples of things that you might see and encounter as you're reading tab and going along. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to get back to you. And I'll also mention we're starting a new series of live streams every Friday where I'll be answering your questions from the comments right there live for you. So check those out. I'm going to put together a PDF that talks a little bit more about tab with some examples for you guys to practice with. You can check that out at allforuke.com. If you're not subscribed to the channel, get in the know. We have new videos every week, new live streams every week starting this Friday. And I hope to see you guys back again next time, allforuke.com. Go over there, check it out, subscribe, and be part of the gang. I'll see you guys next time. I'm Kevin. Thanks so much for joining me.